Hi, and welcome to Lessons on Demand. This is Scott Schilling, and I'll be your trainer for this session today called Price versus Brand Presentation. Now, this is an important lesson that's not often taught. The reason is simple. Most of the time, your organization decides their process, what they're going to do, whether they're going to be a price-based organization or they're going to be a value brand-based organization. And they don't typically share that information too much. What you need to know is you have to have an understanding of both of these, and the reason is very simple. Quite frankly, if you're in the price selling business, it's a tough business. You have to have a lot of volume. You have to make sure that you're out ahead of the competition completely. Only one person can have the lowest price in town. And more than likely, it's the 900-pound gorilla. It's probably not you. The other thing that comes with price is unless you have that kind of tonnage, that kind of volume, you really don't have much profit margin. So you end up working with skinny margins, maybe not have the ability to do some trainings, a variety of different things that you'd like to do. So quite frankly, brand selling, I believe, is the place to be. It really takes having to have value in everything you do along the way. So this is a very important lesson. I suggest you get a pad of paper, pen or a pencil, get ready to take some notes. As always, you can stop these lessons, you can repeat them, you can go back through them. I would go through this many times to really understand price versus brand selling. In order to win the brand side of this, you have to win the conceptual battle. See, price is all about price. If something is $7.95 and it has 5 things on it, something else is $9.95, $7.95 wins. If something is $7.95 with 5 things on it, something is $7.95 with 9 things on it, the $7.95 with 9 things wins. See, it's a very cut and dried. You either have to have the lowest price or you have to have the lowest price with the most number of things on it. Again, the problem is then you're stuck playing this price battle. And as you continue to play price, you're never adding value. And if you're never adding value, why should anybody pay you anything else? If they don't pay you anything else, there's no margin involved. If there's no margin involved, you got a problem. Margin is called profit. Well, when we look at brand selling, we have to win the value. So many times we have to present intangibles, or more importantly, concepts. So as an example, we have to understand what a concept is. Well, a concept is an idea, a thought, a notion, a perception, an impression, a conception, a theory, a model, hypothesis, view, or belief. In other words, as an example I gave in a training just the other day, if you are a life insurance agent, you're selling life insurance to a 28-year-old, saying that it's got a death benefit, probably isn't going to be a big selling point. Why? They don't want to think about a death benefit at age 28. Whereas if you say you can have greater peace of mind, you can now have an educational fund for your kids that aren't even born yet through the cash values, you can have greater peace of mind knowing that if something unfortunately were to happen, your family is going to carry on and be taken care of. Those are all intangibles. Those are concepts. Those are views. Those are beliefs. So again, when we come into brand selling, it's all about value. Now, the thing about value is as you add value, you actually get paid for value because people realize that it's more than worth just the dollars. If somebody gives you $1, make sure you give them $1.25, $1.50, or even $2 in exchange for that dollar. That's called selling value. That's presenting the brand presentation. The other day I went around the room and I asked everybody, what's your definition of financial independence? I got everything from being able to do what I want, where I want, whenever I want, with whom I want, to having enough money to stay at home with my kids, to just enjoying my free time and not having to think about things. All sorts of different answers. And then the next question was, which one of them is right? The answer to that is simple. They're all right because they're their concept. That's their definition of financial independence. See, financial independence is a concept. It's not a hard and fast determined rule. So the fact is, this is an example of a concept. Wellness is a concept. Health is a concept. Yes, there are some things that are measurable, but in fact, for the most part, those are concepts, so that's where we have to create value. Now, one of the examples that I like to use to get this point across is by comparing some Diet Colas. I created a Diet Cola war. Now, how many of you have ever offered your offering to something against or compared it against another offering? We all do that all the time. Well, basically, are you ever exactly the same? No, you're either greater than or less than. You're either better or less than something else. What it really does is gives you an excuse to create a comparison. That's why you're doing the comparison in the first place. It gives you some differentiation, some separation between the two. Now, we have to create our own experiences in this, and so I really want you to understand that, and I want to use these Diet Colas to kind of explore this idea and this concept with you. Now, again, how many can have the lowest price? That's right, typically just one. Now, some can match that price and try to give, maybe a 10% more guarantee after they match the price. You understand what they just did? Now they added value so that they have more things with their low price. The fact is, it ends up costing money to play the low-cost game way far too often. So this is a Diet Cola. And if we look at this generic Diet Cola, we can look at its attributes. It's wet. It doesn't have any calories. It's sugar-free. Well, it's what you want in a Diet Cola. But it's pretty much taste-free. Probably not what you want in a Diet Cola. In fact, it only has a bit of an aftertaste. But it's cost-effective because today it's free. How many of you out there would like one of these? Go ahead, raise up your hands. I can still see you. Good. Now, could there be something better? Well, how about Diet RC? Let's look at this and its attributes. It's wet. It doesn't have any calories. It's sugar-free. It even has some taste. In fact, it has less aftertaste. And it's somewhat cost-effective because today it's only $0.25. Now, who would like one of those? Even more than the ones that wanted the free generic Diet Cola. Well, could there be anything better? Oh, man. Look at that can. Is that awesome? Man, did they do a great job with that design. Are you kidding me? Whoa. This is Diet Coke. Let's take a look at its attributes. It's wet and wild. It has no calories. It's sugar-free. In fact, it's refreshing and tastes great. It's by far the industry's best. It's the top seller out there. But the real reason to take advantage of it? Chicks dig it. Yeah, that's right. And it's cost-effective for the benefits because today it's 50 cents. In fact, how about a coupon for 25 cents? Who would like it now? Now, as I do these trainings live, in fact, I just did this 2 days ago, the vast majority of people will take the most expensive brand. Did you know the difference in presentation? All those things, it's wet and wild. That's adding value. That's a concept. Refreshing, tastes great. That's a concept. Industry's best. Well, it's got something to hang its hat on. Chicks dig it. Speaks for itself, right? Well, everything that was there was adding value to this experience. As opposed to just being wet, it was wet and wild. Do you understand what was thrown in there is called marketing? It's called a little salesmanship. It's making it dance a little bit. But in every training I've done that I've put this out live, the number of people who choose the higher price or highest price far exceeds the combination of the other two. Why? Because ultimately people want value. Nobody has a problem giving you $1. You just have to give them $1.25, or $1.50, or $2, or $3 worth of value for their dollar. The problem is when you ask them for $1 and you only give them 50 cents worth of stuff back. That's where you got a problem. Under promise, over deliver at all cost. So if we were to take a look at this, which brand is your brand? Now you're the only one that can answer this, but understand this simple explanation here, this simple example kind of shows you the opportunities that are out there. There are typically a good, better, best in any product line or product category. Which one are you? Now I'm very fortunate. I have always sold the most expensive, best, whatever it is, my entire career. Why do I say I'm very fortunate? Because quite frankly, it doesn't take much skill to sell price. Somebody says, how much is it? You say it's lower than the other guys, and you tell them. Now, you also typically don't make much money for your organization. You don't make much money for yourself. And you probably don't provide the greatest solution for the person who's asking for it. Because there is also truth in you get what you pay for. As long as there's plenty of value there, you want to make sure that you take advantage of one of those brands that actually gets you to that point. Again, selling makes a difference. Has anyone ever heard anything negative regarding your offering? Sure, we hear stuff all the time. People are always taking shots at your offering. Is it just or is it fair? More than likely not. What it usually is simply uninformed. That's why you're investing in yourself in Lessons on Demand, so that you can present with greater integrity, with greater understanding, with greater ability, so that you can inform people better on the value that they'll receive and the benefits that your offering delivers. Notice I didn't say the word features. Features are things. We want value. We want something that's going to benefit us as a consumer. Selling is simply providing the information necessary to make a quality decision. That's what you have to do on a consistent basis. Provide information. That's why, again, let's go back to the definition, the heart-centered selling definition of selling. Education through communication without manipulation. When we educate, we are now a teacher. So it's providing the information necessary to make that quality decision. It's just that simple. Don't try to make this any harder than it is. Can we all agree to take 100% responsibility for our experience here? Responsibility is the ability to respond. If you really want to play the responsibility game, there's 3 things that you have to get rid of. You have to get rid of blame. That means it's somebody else's fault. It's nobody else's fault. You put yourself into whatever situation. Are you telling me it was that car accident was my responsibility when they hit me? Yeah, you were in the car. You happened to be in that spot. Again, think this through. Stop blaming people if you want to take responsibility. The second thing is you have to stop shaming yourself. You got to get rid of blame. You've got to get rid of shame. Shame is, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not whatever it is. The fact is, if you want to take responsibility, you can't shame yourself. You're wonderful. You're magnificent just the way you are. Understand that. And then the third thing, if you really want to take responsibility, is you have to get rid of justification. Justification is just plain making excuses. Well, let me tell you why it didn't work. Now, sometimes you do have to communicate the facts. That's one thing. But when it becomes an excuse, that's justification. Well, I was late because I was late. That's a bad habit. That means you didn't leave early enough. But there was a traffic wreck. Well, is that a possibility every day? Yeah, then leave earlier. The fact is, more than likely, you cut it too close. If you really want to take responsibility, get rid of blame, shame, and justification. By taking 100% responsibility in life, you automatically jump out ahead of 50% of the people around you. Why? Because they don't. And so now you have something that they don't have. You take responsibility, they don't. That makes you different. It makes you special. People want to be around people that are special. Just that simple. George Washington Carver said this back in 1899. It still fits today. 99% of failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses. Don't make an excuse. Don't justify. Don't blame somebody. Don't shame yourself for it. Just say, you know what? I take full responsibility for it. I get that somebody else might be involved, but then you might need to change the association of who's involved next time. The point is, you're the point person. You're the go-to person. So with that, make sure you're taking responsibility all along the way. There's a great formula that's really quite simple. It says growth equals awareness plus risk-taking or inspired action. See, with these lessons, you are now learning new things. You have invested in yourself. You're gaining new awareness. But it's only once you take this awareness and you take that inspired action, you take a risk of putting into play, that you truly grow. I can tell you from personal experience that the more that I talk about my spiritual journey, the more I'm encouraged to talk about my spiritual journey. Why? Because people are seeking that today. People want to have some comfort. They want to have something to have faith in. My relationship with God and Jesus Christ is closer than it's ever been. Now, I can assure you, I've not said this in trainings in the past. Why? It was there, but now that I talk about it more people are gravitating to it, more people are wanting it. I believe you have to have faith. Well, I have new awareness that sharing that thought with other people becomes comforting to them. Now again, all I'm working to do is be a living example. That's our task. Be a living example of faith in action. That's a new awareness. I'm taking the risk to talk about it. Guess what? I grow each time, especially when I get a response or an email from somebody that says, you know what? Thanks for sharing that. That just gave me the courage I need. The question is, what would you be willing to stop? How about stop doing what's not working? It just makes sense. If it's not working, why are you doing it? If you keep on doing the same old things, you're going to keep on getting the same old results. Start doing what does work. There's plenty of things and plenty of people to model. That's what education's for. And try some new things on. That's what you're doing these lessons on demand for. You're investing in yourself so that you can stop doing what doesn't work, start doing what does, and try a few new things on. I want you to critically think through these lessons. I want you to write these things down and go, did that make me think? Did it make me take some action? See, the truly educated never graduate. The truly educated never graduate. It's about constant and never-ending personal improvement. You got to keep on going after it. The more you go after it, the better off you're going to be. All this training is simply a matter of retention and review. Reviewing some of the things you already know, introducing you to some new and improved methods, reminding you of some past techniques that you've forgotten and stopped using, and then encouraging you to implement consistently. In other words, take action. See, many times you know a lot of these answers. We talk about best practices, best studies, what's been working for you, what's worked in your situation or another situation. Now, I'm also going to introduce you to a lot of new and improved things, but then also remind you of some of the things that used to work. You know why they used to work? Because they used to work. Well, we tend to get away in this technological society, this immediate gratification, me, I got to have what's new and hot. Guess what we've forgotten? We've forgotten slow and steady and what worked in the past. Sometimes it's just reminding you to go back to slow and steady. You know, all the technology in the world is great, but if you're not doing any business with it, you're not doing any business with it. Sometimes you have to use some of the systems that have been proven out over years. Then the other side of this is the encouragement to consistently implement. You've got to stay in action. There is only one thing, action. If you want enough action, satisfaction, that's satis is enough in Greek. Enough action is satisfaction. You got to stay in motion. You got to keep on going. That's what it really comes down to. There's also a theory of constant review, that you must review things that you learn within 5 hours, or you tend to lose about 85% of that. Now, if you review it 6 times, it's yours forever. Short-term memory is only about 37 seconds, so that's why it's so critical to take notes during these lessons. The fact is, you can't review notes that you've never taken in the first place. You've got to jump all over them and stay on top of them. We remember 10% of what we hear, 25% of what we see, 55% of what we see and take notes on, and 90% of what we do. So when I'm in a live training environment, we do a lot of role play. We talk about things over and over again. Why? We do live fire drills. Because when you get out into the field, you're going to be in live fire. You've got to be able to know how to handle objections. You've got to be able to know how to meet and greet people for the first time. You also will remember it much better if you actually take the action of doing it. Seeing this, taking notes, that's why I'm using PowerPoint here. I'm using as many different vehicles to try to get this through to you. So that's why if you're writing it down, you're taking the notes, it's even better for you. But then going and putting this into action immediately will make a huge difference in you. See, there's 4 key things to be successful in anything, whether it's selling success or anything. And if you impart any kind of movement, any kind of positive movement on any one of these 4 factors, you will do better. It's just that simple. The first is you have to have a prospective market. Well, the good news is we've got a virtually unlimited market. I mean, heck, we got 7 billion people on this planet now. That's been taken care of for us by the birds and the bees. Do we have to birth anybody to have more prospects? No. 7 billion people. The birds and the bees have taken care of this category. This prospective market just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So then what you have to do is you have to pursue and engage that market. What you have to do is talk the talk and then walk the walk. Well, what's talking the talk? Talking the talk is knowing your product inside and out. Quite frankly, it's knowing the industry inside and out. So you've got a knowledge base that you can talk from so that you can become a true asset to those that you're working in behalf of. That's talking the talk. What's walking the walk? Walking the walk is simply being a product of the product. Be a product of your own training. Somebody said to me the other day in training, you know, as you taught us the 7 steps of building rapport in a minute and a half or less, you know, this morning when we first met, you went through those exact 7 steps. I said, yeah, well, what do you expect me to do? I'm not going to teach you something that I suggest you go do and then not do it myself. I'm walking my walk. So again, talking the talk is one thing. Walking the walk is another thing. You have to be a product of the product. You have to go in. And out of that comes performance and outcome. And out of that performance and outcome, you see how your offering is working in the marketplace. That gives you results, testimonials, and referrals. Now, most people like referrals. Why? Because the cost of a customer acquisition is typically 0. And most bosses like you spending 0 to acquire new customers. So again, all this performance and outcome comes into results and testimonials and referrals. And ultimately what that does, done properly, is give you the passion and principles to go on. It gives you your confidence and conviction about what you're doing. It really allows you to put the push behind what you're doing because you want to serve somebody with it. You want to provide a solution, not because of the rewards. You've got a confidence, a conviction, a passion. One man with a passion can do more than 100 with an interest. Be passionate about it. And see, what happens is now you get this cycle of success. You go from the prospective market to pursue and engage to more performance and outcome to greater passion and principles back at the market, and boom, boom, boom. And that's how business grows. You get the cycle going, and now it creates momentum. And that momentum feeds upon itself, and ultimately you do more with less effort. Once again, you can have anything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. These lessons are designed to help embed in your mind the concept of serving others through providing quality solutions, and understand why you're so important in this entire process. You can truly make a difference and ultimately you can have all the rewards you want when you help enough other people get what they want. Once again, this has been Price versus Brand Presentation. If you'd like more information on this topic or anything else that we've discussed throughout these lessons on demand, please feel free to visit www.scottschilling.com. As always, this is Scott Schilling saying it's been a pleasure sharing this message with you on Price versus Brand Presentation. I'm so excited for you and everything that you're doing, the lives that you're touching, and the difference that you're making. Until next time, keep on after it. Look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.